Good morning. It's time for the Monday Morning Monologue. Yeah, all right. Anyway, I'm actually going to do something a little different this week. I'm going to try to do 3 of these. I've been playing with this idea of, this obsessed with the number 3, that every one of these has to have a 3-word title. So this is the 3-part series called Up Until Now. Part 1 today, Part 2 on Wednesday, Part 3 on Friday. Up until now. And it's going to be a recap. I'm going to try to quickly tell my story and how I got here, how I got to this point where now I'm trying to have a career as a filmmaker. And I've left my career in post-production behind after the Hollywood strikes, which pretty much, the industry's in upheaval. I wasn't given a tremendous amount of choice to do this. I kind of have to do this. But anyway, let's get started. So I started out in the theater in high school. That's where I really kind of got my start in this idea of telling stories, right? I was a troubled kid in junior high, smoked too much weed, hung out with a bad crowd. My mother got me involved in theater because she was a teacher at the high school I went to, and she was friends with the theater teacher. So the theater teacher kind of took me under her wing. She just passed recently, Barb Surloff, rest in peace. I love you. And she helped me discover my love for theater. When I got to college, even though I started as an electrical engineering major, I couldn't deny my need to be doing live theater. So I switched my major. I got a degree in theater arts production, acting and directing emphasis. I met some of the best friends I ever had in my life there. I met my wife there. This was at the University of Arizona. I had a tremendous time studying theater at the University of Arizona. I had some fantastic teachers, Diane Winslow, Harold Dixon, great people. Anyway, so then I moved to Seattle because I wanted to get involved. There was this kind of thriving regional theater scene in Seattle. So I went up there, left Arizona, and moved to Seattle with not at that point my wife, but my live-in girlfriend, Farah, and we moved to Seattle together, and we got involved in the theater scene up there. It was, I didn't love everything about Seattle. I do love Seattle, but I think the weather was a bit much for me as a desert rat. I needed to be in the hot and the dryness, so I moved to L.A., because I grew up in Phoenix, went to school in Tucson, I needed that. Anyway, but in Seattle, I really discovered my love for classical theater, the great writers of the classical theater, William Shakespeare and Anton Chekhov specifically. And you'll see as I get into the next phase of this, was when I started trying to make independent films after I moved to LA, that those writers continue to play, even to this day, a pretty major part in my career choices. So there you go. There's part 1 of Up Until Now. Stay tuned on Wednesday for part 2.